This recording will be available after tomorrow. It'll be available tomorrow up on YouTube, and we'll have it up. It'll be up for a while. And there's going to be several sections to it so that you can go through them at your leisure and work them. I'll be emailing out some maps for you and the test so that you can work your way through that and answer the questions, and then we will review it in a group. Then we'll go out and do the practical test with everyone, and hopefully everyone will pass and get done. So this is a critical part of being a searcher on Peace River. So like I said earlier, if you fail to take the test, you avoid the test, you don't take the test, and you're still around by December, you'll be gone. We will release you from Peace River. Well, thank you for your service, but we'll let you go. We're not going to put up with it anymore with the map and compass stuff. So learn it, okay? It's important. All right. Going on to the next page. Working on your compass. I got to memorize this thing. It's getting in the way. So, all right, here we go. Don't make it harder than it is. It is not hard to do, really. It's just you have to do it a lot so that you just become second nature to you. There are different types of compasses. We went over that. Whatever works best for you and how much you want it, you're comfortable spending on it. The sighting compasses will be the only style used in this lesson. The sighting style is what they're talking about, the base plates. That's what they're going to use here. So there are 3 parts to orienteering. If you know 2 of them, you can figure out the third. I'll show you what they are here. All right. Here are the 2 types, the base plate and the lens static. I carry both with me, but I prefer my lens static because it's very quick. When you pull it up, I can get a bearing and very quickly when I pull it up. So I prefer that as opposed to having to move my compass around and try to line up the dog in the box or put the red needle in the box and all that stuff. And I just would rather use the lens static. So, but that's just my choice. All right, the 3 pieces of the puzzle is the azimuth, the direction of travel, and the red arrow. That are the 3 pieces of compassing. And so as we go through here, keep in mind these 3 pieces and you'll learn them very quickly. The direction of travel is what you're bearing off to see. That's where I'm going. And then your azimuth will be the bearing that you take to get there. And then the red arrow has to be in the box. It's got to be caged. It used to be called caged. I don't think they call it caging anymore, but it used to be called caging. And you cage it up, and then so make sure you have your bearing in the right place. So we'll move on from there. All right. Azimuth. This is the heading which you will travel. An azimuth is given in degrees from 0 to 360 degrees. So 0 and 360 are the same thing, just so you know. They both denote north. All right. 90 is east, 180 is south, 270 west. So if someone tells you that they're going to give you a heading of 300, that's going to tell you you're going to be in a sort of a northwesterly direction, right? It's not hard to kind of figure that out. So learn these compass numbers. They're not hard to figure out. They're just angles. All right. It's all angles and measuring angles off of your datum. That's all you're doing here. Just try to learn and get familiar with them. Direction of travel. The compass will tell you which way you'll be traveling, right? Look through the sight of the compass. On the base plates, and you have the mirror set up, it'll be on the top of the mirror. There's a little indent there. You can use that. The object of the mirror is that you pull it back so that you can see your compass row in the mirror. All right, so that way you can line it up. You can look over the top. You can see that your compass is lined up in the right direction. You've got the heading that you want, and you can look over the top and you can see line up to something, whether it's a tree or a dirt pile or a mountain peak or whatever it is that you're going to use as your landmark to navigate to. That's what you want to see up in the top there. All right. And then you always want to keep your compass close to you so that you can re-sight. Now, I tell you, when you do sighting and you're sighting for a landmark, do not sight one that's 50 miles away. All right. Sight one that's close. You want to get something that's 100 yards, 150 yards that you can walk to it and get to that one, then turn around and get your sighting for the next one and the next one and the next one, and keep them close. The problem with long sightings is that as you walk, you drift. And the longer the sighting is, the more you're going to drift. So if you drift 30, 40, 50 feet and you're trying to get a precise target, okay, to an exact location, you will miss it by 40 yards easy, okay, if you've long sighted. So it's better to keep a short sight and walk to that as opposed to trying to pick something really, really far away. Now, if you have something like when I was in the desert working, we were overseas, we have nothing to land nav off. So what we would have to do is send a person out in front of us who would sight it up, and we would send him out, and he'd walk straight out ahead for about 100 yards. We'd catch up with him, and then the next person would walk out on the compass row 100 yards, and we would use him, and then we would catch up, and then we would just keep doing it. We had to leapfrog like that to get across because we had no nav. There was nothing but sand everywhere. We had no way to navigate. So we had to make our own landmarks and do it that way. So sometimes you just have to get creative when you do things like that. So, all right. So in heavy foliage, the object may be very close. That's what I was talking about. In open field, the object could be far away, but don't make it too far because you'll get into trouble. Direction of travel. Which way do I walk? New handlers seem to make the same mistake. They get confused and start turning the compass around in circles. This is what we call compass discipline. And I will tell you, if I see you in the field doing something weird like that, I'm going to yell at you to maintain compass discipline. This means that you're not keeping the compass in front of you and holding it out in front of you. You're taking it and turning it different directions with your wrist and saying, oh, it's over that way. You're going to get an incorrect reading when you do that. So don't do that. You should turn the whole body and face the direction that you're going to go in so that you can do it. Don't just turn the arms or the wrist. These are bad habits that people get into. And they get themselves into trouble. All right, direction of travel and azimuth. The two parts of the triangle are important in the relationship on the compass. Remember, the compass is held flat in your hand with your arms extended. Now, one of the reasons we extend the arms out is because you wear a chest pack and you have stuff in there that may have a magnetic field to it. And the other thing, you got pockets, you got a backpack. We had a lady on the team years ago, real sweet lady, but she had metal in her elbows from an injury that she had when she was younger. And every time she touched that compass, it would go 7 degrees north every time. She could not hold the compass and use it because she was a walking magnetic anomaly. So we had to make her a walking stick with a base on the top of it, a flat little piece of wood, so that she could poke it in the ground, lay her hockey puck compass on the top, and look through it with her hands behind her so that she could figure out what direction she was going. And it worked, and we were able to get her through her PRSAR Tech 2 test because that has a really tough land navigation test in it. And she made it through using that system. But the reason you extend your arms out is because we're trying to get you away from the magnetic fields that might be on your body. Okay, so that you don't get any kind of weird readings that way. And that also goes for things on your hands. Certain, play with your compass around your hands and your other jewelry that you're wearing, because you might be surprised to find that some of the jewelry you're wearing has a magnetic field to it. If you're wearing certain watches, they will draw the compass to the left or the right. Certain types of wedding rings will do that. Especially if you've got phosphorus ones, they'll do that. So just check yourself out. Make sure you don't have any crazy magnetic fields going on before you get out there and start using your compass, because it'll be too late then. All right. Next slide. All right. Correct posture using a sighting compass. Now, this young lady here who is doing this, all right, I'll go ahead and tell my nasty story because I'll be an asshole and do it anyway. This young lady here works with a SAR team that's just north of us here, and it was so funny when we did this course was originally done for NSDA, and we put it together for them. This young lady here was terrible with the compass. In fact, I had to go out and find her in the field 3 or 4 times because she would get lost out there in the field. So I thought it was appropriate that she should be showing the compass in these pictures here. So it's hilarious. I still pick on Janet about that all the time. Anyway, all right. So correct posture. She's using a one-handed method. I use a two-hand method myself, but she's using the one hand. You put it out at arm's length as far as you can. That allows the azimuth numbers to be in focus in the mirror so you can see what you're looking for. The compass should be flat in the hand, and you'll know that because you can tell by the bevel that's in there. If it's dipping up or down, that's telling you if your hand is not in correct position. Okay, so you want to be making sure that you have your hand flat and that the bevel's free flowing, that your needle is moving freely within the compass. And then if it's moving freely within the compass, it's flat. And then that way you can make sure that it's reacting to magnetic north. All right. Some people set up the lanyard to be worn around their neck while sighting. You can do that if you want to. I always have the lanyard either attached to my chest pack or around my neck. Everything on my body that's important to me has what I call a leash on it. My radio has a leash on it. It's attached to my chest pack. My compass, my whistle, they're attached to my chest pack. So if I drop them or they slip out, I don't lose them. They just dangle on the leash, and then I pick them back up and put them back in my chest pack. You really should get in the habit of doing that, of attaching your leashes to your chest pack so that you don't lose them when you're in the field. Okay. All right. So some people say, blah, 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 blah. And so down here, what I put in, do what's comfortable for you. And it's really, you personalize this, make it so you're happy with it. Okay. But there are some certain basics that everybody has to follow. But in the long run, you are going to be the one out there doing it, make it comfortable for you. I use 2 different types of compasses when I'm out there. I use my lens static when I'm in the field working and I'm on the move. I'm using my lens static, but if I'm down on the ground and I'm doing map work, I pull out my lens static and I'm using that. Now I have a little bit different lens static than the forestry version because I have a little more. I did a lot of orienteering, so I have kind of a high-tech one that I like to use, but I've been using it for years, so I'm very familiar with it. So it works very well for me. That's me, okay? You may not like to do it that way. You may just want to use a base plate compass all the time. That's fine. If it works for you and you're maintaining discipline with it, fine, okay? Just remember, if we have to go out and find you because you got lost, we're going to embarrass the shit out of you later on down the road. So just remember that. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway. All right. Red arrow inside the orienteering arrow. All right. So this is what we used to call caging the compass, or putting the dog in the box, or they have all these different terms that they've come up with to try to explain this. But when you're using a base plate compass, you're going to set your dial to your desired direction of travel. Okay, you've looked at the map, or maybe you called in to command and you say, I'm at my search area. I'm not sure what direction to go, and we'll look at your map and we'll say you need to head out at 270. And so now you're going to dial 270 in on your dial for your base plate, and then you're going to turn your whole body holding the compass out until the red arrow lines up with the red box. Okay, that means it's lined up correctly with north in the proper position. And now you look over the top of your compass and you find that landmark that you're looking for, and you're going to head for that landmark while you're searching, right? So you look around as you're searching, you're looking around, maintaining your search discipline. And at the same time, you keep checking back up to make sure you're heading towards the proper landmark. All right, that's why you want to pick out a good landmark. Don't pick out the 3rd tree on the left, because I guarantee you'll forget which tree it is halfway through the search, and then you'll be doing the 5th tree on the right, and then you'll be way off, So just, pick a good landmark and keep your search discipline. When you get to the end, you're going to turn around and run the opposite direction back and, back and forth, and we'll talk about that a little later on. But that's the basics of it. Setting your direction of travel, you're going to dial it in, you're going to turn until the red arrow is lined in the box, look over the top of your compass, pick out your landmark, and off you go. All right. Red arrow inside the orienteering arrow. So we just talked about that. So we'll go on. Problem solving and practice. It's a really good practice to always orient yourself to north anytime you're in an unfamiliar area. I always do this. And actually I was not good at it. We had a guy who came on the team for us from the Coast Guard. His name was Don Saba, really nice guy. And Don was really absolutely disciplined on this, always knowing where north was. And I picked it up from him because I found out that it was really helpful. So always when you get on site, look around and figure out where north is. There may be a cell tower that's north of you, and that can be your kind of your offset so that you always know where north is. It's that way. And that will help you as you orientate yourself. I have a problem where I live here in Inglewood, okay, because we have a thing south of me that's called Rotunda. It's a circle. It's one of these circle communities. It's on a wheel. I get in there, I get lost all the time because I can't figure out where north is. I have a really hard time with that. So I'm always, when I drive in there, I'll pull up my GPS on my van, and I'll just pull it up, and all of a sudden I'm looking to figure out where north is. I do it every time I go in there because I have a hard time getting, I get lost in Rotunda. I mean, I just do. So my dementia is bad. So it's a good practice to get in there. So that you always know where north is. All right, and then you can quickly orient yourself when you find your person, and then if you have to call in for assistance, it's easier for you to give directions when you know where north is. It works out a lot better for you. Now, usually, since we're now on CalTopo, we're already going to know where you are. So if you call in and say, we've got our victim and we need help because he can't walk out on his own, then we're going to be sending resources to you. So that shouldn't be a problem. But as you know, many of these areas don't have cell phone coverage, and if we don't have cell phone, we have a problem with that. People said, well, you get Starlink, and Starlink is great. It works for the command post, but it doesn't help you guys in the field because your cell phones are still not going to work out there. So that's one of the reasons why we've never upgraded to Starlink, because it it only helps the command post. It doesn't help people in the field. So what is it, $140 a month or something like that. So, all right. Which way is north? Hold the compass at waist level, turn the bevel until the N is lined up in your direction of travel arrow. Holding the compass at waist level, turn your body until the red arrow is in the red orienteering arrow. Okay, and then once that happens, you know where north is. Problem solving and practice. Remember the three sides of the triangle. Have it in front of you, and it will help solve your problems. You can write that in your little notepad if you carry that in your chest pack if you need it. Usually, after you've done this several times and going into 2026, at least once a month, we're going to have a operational training where we're going to call you. We're going to dispatch you just like we normally would. You're going to show up. We're going to hand you maps. We're going to send you out to sectors to go search with your dogs or horses or whatever. And you're going to be expected to be able to navigate out there and do that. And the only way you get good at doing this stuff is by doing it. So we will continue to, train you to do it that way. All right. Problem. You're standing in an open field. Your azimuth is 300 degrees. What is your direction of travel? Anybody? Let's go. Solution. What you should know. Turn the bevel to 300 degrees. Hold the compass and turn your body until you get the red in the red. They're saying red is the red here. So what direction do you walk and look through the sight? So yeah, your azimuth and your direction of travel are the same thing. Now people will talk about, they have another word they use. If you're in the water or Navy, they call it a bearing. They'll say, what's the bearing? That's talking about an azimuth. So the Army guys say azimuth and the Navy guys say bearing. So that's basically how they fight over things like that. They'll say, what's the reverse azimuth? Well, that means that's 180 degrees from what your azimuth is. So if you have 180 or you have 300 degrees and you're out there, your reverse azimuth is minus 180, which would be 120. So your reverse azimuth is 120. So, and if you look at your compass and you've got the 300 in there, if you look on the other side directly across from your compass, it's going to tell you what the reverse azimuth is. Okay. So it's pointing right at your chest. So just look at it. It should be 120. So that should be the easy way in order to figure that out. So which direction do you walk? Well, you look over the site, pick your target that you're going to walk to, and you start walking. Now, we're not going to do pace count tonight, but a lot of you have done pace counts. We do pace counts for the search technicians, the canine people, and the horses. Our horses do pace counts. Every time the front left leg comes down on that horse, that's part of the pace. So every time it comes down a straight line, that's a pace, that's a pace, that's a pace, that's right. And so those of you on the mounted team that's here tonight, just remember you keep those cards out, because you should all have cards with all that information on there and what your pace count for your horse is when he's walking, trotting, or galloping, whatever that is. You know what your pace count is, so you can keep track of it. It's very important, especially if you're out there because you guys, the horse people, are going to be way out there. Your job is going to be on the containment line, so you're going to be at least a mile away from base camp where you're going to be working at. So you need to be good at land navigation because you're going to be out there. All right. Problem, you're holding the compass and have the bottom of the front left leg of the windmill tower in your sight. What azimuth do you need to travel to get there? Well, you're going to be holding the compass and you have it at the bottom left front leg of the windmill, right? Direction of travel, what azimuth? How do you find the azimuth that you're going to do that? Well, what you're going to do is your red arrow is going to be pointing however it is to north, and your compass may not be lined up correctly. So you're going to turn that bezel number dial on the top until it lines up and the red arrows in the red box. Okay, you've lined it up. Once that's lined up, look over your compass and whatever, it'll tell you what your direction of travel is. So say, for example, you started off at 270 and you started turning it to the left because you're trying to line it up, and then all of a sudden it all lines up, your magnetic arrows line up. You look over the top and it says 300. So your direction of travel is 300. And so that's your azimuth. You're going to be going at 300 to that corner. That's how you find it when you're doing it. All right. I just did that for you. So, and Lisa's back. All right. Conclusion. There are more orienteering than covered in this lesson. There is a lot more to it. We're just getting started tonight. Be comfortable using your compass. All right. You're the expert on your compass, how it works, and be comfortable with that compass. Take care of that compass. All right. Make sure that you take good care of it. If it's got bubbles in it, it's time to replace the compass. Sorry, you can't operate them with bubbles. They don't work properly if they got bubbles in them. So if you've had an older compass and you look at it and now it's shining back some nice shiny bubbles, dump it and get another compass. Moving too quickly causes confusion with the terminology and how to use the compass. So don't be in a hurry with your compass. Take your time, calm down. Now, if you're in a team of 4, okay, or 5, your Bravo team, and there's 5 of you on this team, you got a team leader, you're going to delegate your jobs out to other people on the team, right? So one person's going to be handling the radio, one person's going to be the scribe that keeps track of what's going on, and then the other person's going to be the land naver. And that should be, whoever you pick for land nav should probably be the best land naver on the team in your group that you have. Because they're one of the most important people that you have. They're going to keep you from getting lost. And then your 5th person might be the pace counter that does the pace counters. But you can divide up the responsibilities so one person isn't doing everything. And that'll help keep the confusion out of a lot of stuff. All right. And then make up your own scenarios. Remember that you can practice anywhere, which we know that. We do that all the time. So any questions on that? All right, where are we at here? Oh, good, we're way ahead of schedule. All right, I'm going to pop out of that one there, and I'm going to open it up for any questions before we cut it for tonight. Any questions on compasses first? Anybody have any questions?
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
Do you have to have a mirror on yours? I've got a flat base plate Suunto that I've been messing with for a while.
Nope,
Do I need one with a mirror?
you do not. A lot of people get them with the mirrors, so that's why I show it. Forestry always uses the mirror ones, which is fine. They don't pay for theirs; they get issued theirs, so they don't care. I use a flat base plate also, so that's one of my favorites that I use. So you don't have to have that. If you're comfortable using it the way it is, then use it. Okay, and not a problem with that at all. Thanks, Matt. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mike, this is Sue.
Hey, Sue.
I've got my compass here and I'm looking at it. I've
Uh-huh.
got bubbles. No, so the compass is no good, correct?
You should probably replace it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's gonna affect the bezel is what it's gonna do, and it'll affect the
Okay.
way the bezel operates. And so, it's really not safe to do that. You're gonna end up wishing you had did that. So
Okay.
I would make a plan to replace it. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Anybody else? All right, so update on team stuff. We're getting ready to crank up in October, so be watching the schedule. It's going to start filling up with lots to do. We're going to be turning and burning. I've been up in Tallahassee this week with FDLE. Had a nice talk with the commissioner and the directors. And Peace River is going to be a preferred resource for them. So we're going to be doing a lot of law enforcement stuff going into 26. That's with the scent team, the horses and the dogs and everybody else. So they're very excited to get going. I have to go to a presentation on the 30th of September to meet with the leadership team for FDLE and then present what we're all our teams to FDLE, and then we're going to be busy. So I would plan on that. The tracking dogs, since we're going to be back on the CART team, which is the Child Abduction Response Team, we're going to be a resource for them. Make sure that tracking dogs are going to be important. So we're going to be working on those skills a lot over the next couple of months to make sure everybody's tuned up. A dive team gets started here next week. So if you want to come out to tender, be sure and come on out. We'll teach you how to do it. Those of you who are diving, make sure you've got at least one tank of air. It won't be too long of a session. We're just going to be working on circle search patterns and half circles. And then when we come back in 2 weeks, we're going to set up the jack stays, and we're going to show you how we do the more difficult searches, which is putting the grid down and then working, setting up your datums and working down there off the bottom. So we do our purpose is to do a lot of evidence recovery, and that's our main thing that we do. For those of you who are divers, we're not into public safety diving. That's where they rescue cars and they do all that stuff. Charlotte County, where we're at here, has 3 dive teams from the fire department, the police department, and the sheriff's department. And then they have Northport, and they all have rescue public safety divers, and that's great. And let them do it. When it comes to doing evidence recovery, I can tell you right now, all those teams suck at it. And so that's why we're going to be specializing in that area as opposed to doing lifting cars and doing all that kind of stuff. Let them do it. They have the training, the equipment, all that stuff to do it. Let them do that stuff. We'll handle the forensic stuff. Let us do that because that needs to be a specialty. And so we'll take care of that on the dive side. Okay, so that's going to start next Monday. And then we get into October, and then things will be cranking up. As for me, the surgery went really well. I feel great. Haven't felt this good in a while. So I plan to take that and go in there and invest a lot of time in you guys to get your teams back up running. The training season for Peace River, just so you know, will run from October 1st till June 1st. And then the critter training will stop after June 1st. We won't be training the dogs much or the horses much in the summer unless the weather's nice and we decide to try to do some kind of specialized training or something we might, but we'll mostly be training the handlers and the search specialists at that time. That's when we get our CERT training done, our first aid training done, that kind of stuff. We can get all that done in the summer while the dogs are taking a break so that we don't cook them out there in the heat. We are in climate change. We are going to be going through some hot summers and some very cold winters. As you've noticed, it's already started to cool down. So it's a chance that we may have a fairly cool winter this year, which would be nice for Florida. We could use it. So keep that in mind during the training season. It's important that you set your training now. As far as certifications go with the tracking stuff, I'm working on getting my tracking certification done through NSDA so I can help certify dogs. And then we've got John Elwood who can do that. And then as far as the cadaver dogs, I think we're looking at probably February before we try to put the dogs through. At that time, if we have too many dogs, we'll break it into 2 sessions, but we'll just see how it all pans out, and get people up through their certifications for the canines. And then the horses, we're going to start with the horse rider evaluations in October, and to get everybody, see where everybody's at on their skills, and anything that's deficient, we'll schedule training for and get that taken care of so everybody's up to speed. Communications, the new radios are up. We have the new repeater tuned up. It's working really well. Doing some more work on it. We'll be doing more work on it on Sunday and fine-tuning it a little bit. It's been a major upgrade for us, but I think we're finally going to be able to stop some of these blackout problems we've had with the comms. So and it'll be a good deal for us. And then the boat's up and running, the jet ski's up. Everything's working. We're just finishing up the command trailer again because we ended up with another electrical problem, so we've taken care of that. So I think we're up to good. So everything's online to get started in October. So it's going to get busy. So we're going to be putting pressure on people to get themselves tuned up and get their skills up because FDLE is going to be putting us to work. So think about that out there. All right. Any other questions? Anybody has anything? Oh, the fundraiser. Before I forget, I'll get chewed out if I don't mention it. We did start the fundraiser for the Flanzer giving. We're putting out it's all internet based. So we're putting out the ads on the Facebook page for Peace River and the Instagram page. So just cross post them, encourage people to donate. We're trying to get ahead of that humongous insurance bill that's coming in December. And because we struggled with it this year to get it done, and I'd like to have the money so that we can just pay it and be done with it and then get into our year and not have to worry about it. So we're trying to get the money in now so that we can get that taken care of. All right. So please help out if you can. If you've got cute pictures or videos you want to share, please do so, so we can keep the fundraising campaign going up through October. All right, and that should help us out. Should help us out because I just had to put the Polaris in, and that's just something went wrong with the transmission on it, so it's in the shop now. So God only knows what that bill is going to be when it gets done. So anyway, all right, last chance. Any questions? Anybody want to yell at me, cuss me out? This is your chance to do so.
The fundraiser, Facebook is stripping our link away. So when you cross post, you have to take the link and put it at the top of your comment. So when you cross post it on Facebook, take the Flanzer link, put it at the top of your comment, write your own comment about please support Peace River, and then post it. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to get the link on Facebook. Otherwise, the link will never show up and they won't know how to donate.
There you go.
And I would like to also add that on the original posts that you put up, Mike, if people could comment on those posts and share the posts, it'll help bump it up so people will see it more who are already following the page.
100%. So
Julie's handling those posts. So Julie, you have to answer a question on that.
So on any time that anytime there's any social media posts, the way that those go out to non-followers, the public, is if you comment, like, share, the way that the algorithm works is that pushes it out to people that don't necessarily follow Peace River, as well as people that currently follow but don't necessarily get our posts on a regular basis. So even if you're not sharing it, just post a comment that says, "Oh, I love that dog," or great to see this. Anything. It can even just be a heart that says, you know, or a smiley face. Anything that you're interacting with our post on a daily basis is going to help the reach that goes out to the people that might not otherwise see it. Or just tag a friend or tag a business or something that's going to
Yeah.
help that get to somewhere else.
The other
those
thing you
comments
can do,
help so
Julie,
much.
the other thing you can do is when you post it, after you put the link and then put your little thing of support, tag at everyone, and it will make sure everyone on your friends list sees it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
Yes.
You can also do at highlight, and
Yeah,
it'll do the
or-
same.
Yeah, sometimes people block if they see the at highlight, they won't do it. I have found through my business
Oh.
page, if I do at
Yeah.
followers or at everyone, that's when I get the most traction.
Yeah. I think on personal Facebook pages, you may not be able to do at everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't tried it. I just was we ran into some issues today, so I was trying a bunch of different things to figure out what was going on.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question?
Yes.
Diane?
Yeah.
Is this just online or do we send it out like to our email addresses? I got a little confused today. Is it just for social media or do we just send it out trying to get the word out so that they can post it? Because I've got some friends that are on my email list, but are not on my Facebook friend page.
At this point, however you want to get it out to people, get it out to people.
Okay, yeah, no,
You
because
can-
I've got like 10,000 emails because I was very active a couple years ago, but on my Facebook page I have like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. However it needs to go
we
out.
we can do a flyer if you guys want. We can do a flyer that's an email flyer that you
Please.
can email out to whoever you want.
Oh, do
but
that
it can-
for me,
You
please.
can take
Yep.
the if you got the email from Constant Contact that we sent out before we started the
We can
Facebook
do it-
campaign.
yeah,
you
but
can
we-
forward that out to people too. It's got all the information.
Yeah, we can
on
do it.
so you
We can do a pretty flyer.
Oh, good. No,
It's
thank
no
you.
big deal to do a pretty flyer. Give us a few days. Like maybe Monday of next week, we can do a pretty flyer and have Mike send it out to you guys.
Yeah,
And then that way you
and
can use it
maybe-
kind of as an ad.
Yeah, maybe add a QR code that links directly to.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
agree.
please,
100%.
thank you. That would help me out because I
Yep.
have quite a extensive email list
Yep.
and like 12 followers. I decided once I ran for office, and I
Oh.
stopped doing email. I mean, internet. It just
Awesome.
was overwhelming.
That would be fantastic. And if anybody wants to then take that flyer and take it to businesses and have, post it at businesses, fantastic. Whatever you guys can do. So that would be
No,
very
thank
helpful.
you. That would work out better for me.
Yep. Thanks.
Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, are we going to do any field training for land navigation? Because it's been 20 years.
You're going to be out there doing it. Absolutely. So
Okay.
we'll be scheduling that in October. So
Okay, and that'll be before the test, obviously.
yes, I'm not gonna throw you into the deep end of the pool without training you first. So that's okay. We'll be good. So we'll get out there, get everybody get some practice. It's not hard, really. The land nav can be challenging, but it's usually a lot of fun. We used to do it. We go up to the helicopter and have him dump you guys off out in the Cecil Webb somewhere, the sheriff's helicopter, and then you guys would have to land nav your way back to the landing zone so you get picked up. Otherwise, you have to walk home if you can't make it. So that's a long way. But anyway, maybe we'll do that again this time. I'll talk to. We'll see him on the trick or treat thing. So I'll ask Shane when I see him if he can maybe do another helicopter trip for the guys.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah, we can do that instead. So, all right. Anything else? All right, guys, I'm going to shut this off and we will. Thanks for coming in. Get started. Like I said, I am going